So vi myfile.sh. So now we'll continue with the if statement that we worked earlier. I'll show you how it works. Okay. So now I'm just going to put something like backtick. Okay. I'm just going to utilize. I'm just going to get the current user's name and then see if it is matching my name that I have with me. Okay. So if, and then in this bracket I'm saying with a space on both sides, I'm saying backtick who am I, backtick equal to inside double quotes I'm going to say Ace. Okay, so this who am I is going to return me the current user's name, which is right now Ace. So Ace equal to Ace, then this is going to be successful. Okay, then I'm saying echo hello Ace, welcome to Linux class. Okay. So and then if it is not matching anything else, I'm going to say echo you are not authorized. Okay. F5. I'm closing it. So if I run this, now it is going to say me hello Wales, welcome to Linux class. But if I go to some other user account, okay, right now I'm going to root user account and then I run the same file, it is going to say you are not authorized, because now it is going to check. What it is going to do is here it is going to run a command called as who am I, which is going to return as root, and then if the condition is going to check if root equal to Ace, then it is going to be false, so it will not go to this code block, it will go to this code block and it will say you are not authorized. Okay, so this is how you run an command inside your script and then utilize it as a variable. Okay, now I'll come out and go to my thing. So now I don't want this to be a command, but I want this to be a variable, and then use it as an test. Okay, user input. Okay. So to do this, to get the user input, I use a command called as read. So read is something like it'll open up the standard input and ask for the input from the user from his keyboard. Okay, and then it will store it onto the variable name that I give next to it. Okay, so that this is a variable I'm going to use here again. Okay, so to make the user understand, I'm going to just echo something, echo enter your user name. Okay, and then I close the script. I'll explain once again. I say echo enter your name on the standard prompt, and then it goes to read command. Read command will open up the standard input asking for an user input. User can give an user input, and when he presses enter, that value is getting stored in the variable which is put next to it, and then you can utilize that variable to do anything out of your script. Okay, so now I run my file. It will wait for my user input. If I put Ace, it will say hello Ace, welcome to Linux. If I put something else, it will say you are not authorized. So you are understanding this part, right? Clear? Okay. So we'll go to the next level. So now I'll use something called as while loop, and I'll also utilize this read statement. Okay. So say for example, your current scenario is like your company has given you a list of URLs and they have asked you to ping every one of them and then see their which one is pinging, which one is not pinging. So you need to create two different logs with an success status with an failure status. Okay, so we are going to take that as an example. So what is a ping command? Ping will do ping www.google.com. If I put like this, this is going to ping in Linux. This is going to run as a never-ending program. So I need to limit the number of counts that is going to come. So what I say, ping, I put an option called as C, which is going to reduce the number of counts to a specified number, and then I say www.google.com. Okay? So it has finished this command with a single loop. So there is one more problem in this. Say for example, I put an IP which is not at all reachable. Okay, even with one single count, it is going to wait for a long time to get its response believing it at some point this guy will respond. So I don't want to wait for a very long time because I'm going to put this inside a shell script. So what I'll do is I'll say wait for a specific time interval. I'm saying 1 minute, 1 second. So it will wait for 1 second, and there is no response. It is going to kill it, stating that there is no packet response. So this is 100% loss. Okay. So now I have a file, my server list. Okay. So inside it I have the list that my company gave me: www.google.com, www.yahoo.com, www.learn@ace.com. Okay, and then I also have this IP which is not reachable, 3.1. Okay, www.facebook.com. Okay, so this is the list that I have with me that I got from the company. Okay, I'll put this again somewhere in 172.16.4.15. Okay, so these two are IPs that are not going to be reachable, because I know these are not reachable because 172.16 is a private subnet. It is not going to be available on the public internet. Okay. So now I have a list of things that I got from a company. I have pasted into my file that I have. Okay, so I'll open my shell script again. So here we'll remove everything. I'm going to use a while loop. Okay, so while read something,
okay,
and put it on a variable. Okay, and then I'm saying I'm putting my command ping $line. Okay, I have to put the other statements also, right? Ping -c1 -w1 $line, and then I say while do. Okay, and then I say done. Okay, this is the loop, but right now it will wait for the input from the standard input from the user. So what I can do is I can use a redirect string called as arrow, and then I put my file name. What was that? My server list, right? So now what happens, instead of waiting for user input from the standard input, it uses this file as its standard input, and then for each loop it will take one line from that particular file. So right now this is a very simple script. I don't have much of logic applied to it. What it will do is it will ping each one of them onto the standard screen, so based on the it will go through each one of the line from that particular file, and then it will do it. So I'll explain the code again. While command will run a loop until it receives an input. Okay, and so what it will do is, while I've given a command called as read, so while command will run until the next statement is true. Okay, so the next statement says read a standard input, and I am putting it into a variable called as line. So if I am not putting this thing here, what it will do is it will ask for the input from the user, waiting on the standard input. But what I am doing right now is I am getting it from my file. Okay, this is the only difference. This redirection is the only difference from the standard way that we did earlier. Okay, so it goes to this file and takes each of its line as a standard input, and it will run a loop n number of times until it reaches the end of file. Okay, and then it performs this operation. Okay, so that is what we saw on the output. When we perform this, we were able to see that it is going to ping each one of the input that we have given on that particular file. Okay. Okay, so what now I'll do now is I'll add some more logic. Okay, so there is one thing called as exit status. Say for example, if I put this ping -c1 -w1 www.google.com. Okay, what happened here is the command was successful. So if I say $question mark, it will say 0. Okay, why? Because the previous command's exit status was stored in this variable, and that is 0. In Linux world, the exit status of 0 indicates that the previous command was successful. Okay, if I put something else, I'm not sure if this will be captured. 172.16.4.1. I put except C. So here if you see, this command failed because ping could not get a response back, and you see an exit status of 1. So anything other than 0 in the exit status, this variable is called as a special variable which will capture the previous command's exit status. So anything other than 0 is considered as an failure. Okay, so I'll utilize the same thing in my code to create an logic. Okay, so now what I'll do is shift end. Okay, the next thing I do is, if my previous command's exit status, I can just put like this. If I put this, it simply indicates that it is a true or false, but I can do some more logic like 0. Okay, then echo dollar line was is pingable. Okay, and then I move it to my success dot log. Okay, I need to append it because it should not rewrite it. Else, okay, echo dollar line is not reachable. Okay, to failure dot log. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, so we'll see if this logic works. Okay, what I need to do, one more thing, is that right now everything is getting displayed to the standard out. I don't want the output to be displayed on the standard out. So what I'll do is I'll redirect everything and to dev/null. What happens now? Nothing will be directed to the standard output. Everything will go to my code will be neat, right? So now I put sh. There will be nothing getting displayed on the screen because everything is getting redirected to dev/null. Now I should have 2 more files created on my directory, which is like failure log, success log. So my failure success log states google.com is pingable, yahoo.com is pingable, learnertest.com is pingable. Failure log says this is not reachable, this is not reachable. So now you understand the logic. I'll explain once again. Now the command comes in, it waits for a standard read, while command waits for a standard read and wants to store it on the variable called as line. Okay. But right now I am saying don't read it from the standard input, read it from a file that I have. Okay. That file has a list of server IPs that I have with me. Okay. So now while command goes to the next line, takes this first line that it is, which is like www.google.com as $line, and then it performs ping-cwn www.google.com, and the output that should have come to the standard out, I have redirected it to dev/null so that nobody sees anything that is happening during this script. And then if this previous command is successful, it is going to get $value as 0, right? So when this is successful, what I do is echo $line. What is $line now? www.google.com is pingable onto the success log. Else, now it is not going to go to the else part because it was successful. It finished the if condition, and then it goes to read the second line from the server list, which is www.yahoo.com. So it is going to be repeated again and again until the logic, it reaches the end of file. Okay, so you understand this logic. So here we have used a read statement, a while statement, and an if condition. Okay.